Hi again, Daniel D, Ventriloquist here, and we're moving on now with the next portion in our How to Be a Ventriloquist series. Well, we've already talked about quite a number of things. I think you'll agree we've talked about the principles of ventriloquism, the technical aspects of it, how to speak, which we're still doing without moving your mouth, which is kind of the key, but also we've touched on the fact that the interaction between you and your puppet character is absolutely crucial, and we'll develop that more as time goes on. We've also talked about the fact that ventriloquism is just an illusion. It's an illusion whereby your audience knows very well that you're doing all the talking. It's not a very clever illusion, is it? But you've got to convince them that actually your puppet is doing the talking, and that's done by your interaction with your puppet's independent, if you like, interaction with the audience, his personality and character, and the differentiation between his voice and your voice. We've touched on all that, and we'll go into it in more detail. We've also looked at two of the tricky letters to pronounce, the B and P sound, which, if you remember, Hadley helped with. So now we're going to move on to the next sound, which is the M sound. And again, M uses the lips, and you might think, well, how on earth can we say a M sound? Because that almost seems more pronounced than a P or a B sound, because you're almost rolling the sound through your lips. Again, linguists out there will have technical terms for all these letters and the way we produce sounds. I'm not a linguist, but as you know, to produce a M, we have to really purse our lips together and allow sound to come out of the mouth as we open our lips. M. So how can we produce that sound? Well, again, there are similarities between the M sound and the P and the B sound, because what we have to do is position our tongue behind our teeth so that that sound can be made, or the illusion of that sound can be made without using our lips. So let's have a go. N, n. And again, my tongue is touching the back of the top teeth and the bottom teeth. The difference between this is that you're pulling the tongue away from the teeth. When you pronounce a B and a P, D, T, it's quite a staccato sound that you're making, D, T. But the M sound is a sort of gentler sound. M. You're moving, you're moving the tongue in a more gentle way. So rather than saying D, which as you know, as we've talked about, is a plosive sound, like a little explosion, the M is a much gentler sound. M. You can't really do it in slow motion, can you? So B, P, D, T, N, N. It's actually very similar to a N sound. N, N. And the difference that I find I make is that N is right at the top of your mouth, behind your front teeth. And the M sound is, as I say, touching your top and your bottom teeth. So try and listen to the difference there. N, 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 N. And again, as we've said before, we're creating an illusion. So you could actually get away, until you become more comfortable, by using a N sound. Let's think of a word. The name Mike. Mike. You could say Nike. And it's very hard to tell whether I'm saying Nike or Mike. Nike, 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 Nike. The difference is the position of your tongue in your mouth. It's slightly lower when you say a N sound, slightly further forward. N, 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 N. It's very interesting learning ventriloquism because you become very aware of what's actually going on in your mouth when you're pronouncing certain sounds and making certain sound shapes. And that, I think, and that's the term I use, is sound shape, because that's exactly what you're doing. You're making the sound, the shape of a sound in your mouth. And what we're doing is we're finding an alternative way to the the normal way, the accepted way, the way that we're taught and learn to speak. So instead of using our lips to say m, we're just teaching ourselves, we're learning a different way to say it. So let's practice again and compare the two sounds. N is our tongue at the top. It's kind of on that little ridge behind your top teeth. At least it is in my mouth. Your mouth might be totally different. Send me photographs. And the m sound is touching, lower your tongue in your mouth, touch the top and bottom teeth together and produce a similar sound. So n, 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 n. I find that when I'm doing it slowly, my tongue feels like it just protrudes slightly between the teeth. It's not a big thing, and as we're talking about, we're not doing this to produce a perfect mouth shape. We're doing it to produce an acceptable sound. And that's one of the things I want you to remember. It doesn't have to be perfect. It has to be acceptable. Remember, your puppet is always down here, by the way. He's having a little rest on my lap because he might come into action in a minute. You're producing something that is convincing to see in your puppet's mouth movements. So let's just practice again. N, 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 n. Let's think of that word again. Nike. Nike. Nike was dancing his doll, actually with his friend Tall. So now we've got 4 main letters. Is it 4? No, it's only 3. I can't even count. So now we've got 3 main sounds, tricky sound. The p, the b, and the m. P, b, m. All sounds that you definitely use your lips very clearly with in normal speech, but in ventriloquial speech, is that a word? I think it's a word. If not, it sounds quite posh and erudite, doesn't it? So let's use it. In ventriloquial speech, we use our tongue behind our teeth to make the same sounds. So d, t, n. Okay? Go in front of the mirror and practice the m sound. Let's think of some words that begin with m. Actually, it doesn't have to begin with m. It can be anywhere in the world. Like compare. That's a nice one because it's got a m and a p in. Paul compared his doll to Nike's. I think we should leave that and move on. I'll see you in the next video where we're going to talk about the f and the v sound. F and v. Those are really tricky ones, and there's different ways of doing those. I'll see you in a little while.